how to say, our gem. Okay, we only discovered our gem in the final few games when he was not around. Harry Maguire. Okay, Danny, Harry Maguire. Salam satu Malaysia. Good evening, not good evening. Okay, I've been getting countless messages. Good evening messages. Okay, welcome to JomUnited. We're a Malaysian Manchester United fan channel on YouTube. Okay, dengan bangganya buatan Malaysia. Okay, guys, we got a special 3-part segment of Jom Sembang United today. Okay, whereby we will be rating our 2020-2021 United squad. Okay, so how this thing is going to work is we are only going to rate the players, we will say the main players. Okay, so yes, Anthony Martial is going to be rated for sure. Okay, so that is actually where the views will come in anyway. Okay, so people like, for example, on loan, S3 and whatnot, we're not going to touch on them. Okay, Phil Jones probably anyway, he's going to get a rating of 6 anyway, because who else in this world, right, who don't work and they get paid 80,000 in a week? Who else? Correct or not, guys?
You don't want to know that answer.
You gotta keep it politically correct. Okay, so to start off, okay, let's start with our first player, David De Gea. We'll pass it to our number one fan, Doc De Gea.
Well, I think for De Gea, if you ask me his rating, I'll give him a rating 7 to start with. Let's put aside his last kick where he missed the penalty, and let's take a look back at his whole season. I think he had a decent season, a very strong season this year as compared to the previous years where he made a couple of mistakes. I think he looks at points back to almost his best, if you ask me. But he was let down by his defense on many occasions, left in, very dire situations, very close in and mistakes by the defense. If you look at it as a whole, the season as a whole, you can't really remember a very serious mistake that he made that led to a goal. I think the two things that come to mind. One was the Sheffield United game at home where he was bumped off the ball. And I know people say he was not strong enough, but for me, it was a foul. He was pushed, right? And the other one is probably the Everton one where the third goal where he didn't come out fast enough. But then again, there was a mistake by Maguire to let Calvert-Lewin in. But if you compare with Henderson, and he played less games than De Gea, I mean, there are few glaring mistakes that come to mind. I think the Sheffield United game where he kicked the ball against the defender, the attacker, and then I think the AC Milan game, the last minute goal, which was pretty much straight at him. I think also the Liverpool goal for Salah's goal, and a couple of and the goal before that as well, where he palmed the ball straight to Firmino. So for me, I think De Gea still remains number one. I hope that his penalty miss will not be his last kick for United. I hope he stays on, fights for his place and win back the number one, as I've been saying all the while. For me, he is still the number one at United. Henderson is good, but I think he still has some way to go to claim that number one spot from De Gea.
So that's only Josh.
Yeah, I actually wanted to go ahead and tell De Gea, it's like totally wrong to say those statements to start with, because what I feel is that Doc De Gea is also talking about emotions on this player. Okay, so I'm going to bring a bit more facts into what the Premiership of Manchester United on a goalkeeper. So what's important is that we want to know that what's moving forward, right? So to understand David De Gea, he's a goalkeeper that has passed his peak. So now coming down to what the new goalkeeping is a goalkeeper sweeper, right? So what Henderson brings in this game is basically he has the ability to be a keeper and a sweeper at the same time. So he has actually demonstrated so many times in this season how he can be a sweeper keeper. All right. So yes, he may have the least time of this season, but I feel that because of what Henderson has been patient in the bench. He has actually came out of Sheffield United, joined Manchester United, and planning to actually overtake David De Gea in that spot, and he managed to do that. And he has timelessly always been in that very comfortable position. What I feel that is lacking in De Gea compared to Henderson is that De Gea has passed his prime, and we need to embrace the modern day football. We totally love David De Gea, don't get me wrong here, but we need to move on. We really need to move on. However, Henderson has also the ability to actually engage with the defense, which David De Gea fails to do that at certain points of time. Yes, he may did it before, but at modern day football, there was interaction of Henderson being more quicker to have these thoughts. David De Gea, one thing that he's really great at is he's a shot stopper, but that one is something Henderson needs to learn. All right, so that's why I say moving forward, Henderson should be the number one, and David De Gea should actually understand that his role is to actually to coach Dean Henderson. Don't mind being number two and play your cup games and also the Europa the Champions League for example. So,
George, what would be
that's
your
why
rating
Henderson
for Henderson?
I will rate him a 7 purely in the number of games that he played, because he has overperformed in that sense to get the numbers of clean sheets that the times that he played. So that I will give him a 7, and there's more to come from him.
I think we can all agree that we have two solid goalkeepers. Yeah, there are some flaws here and there, but overall, I think we have a solid pair of goalkeepers. I think in the league, I think we have the best, I would say the best pairing of our goalkeepers. Okay, quickly we move on to our fullbacks. Okay, let's talk about Shaw, Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Teles. Okay, Pija, apa rating you untuk kita punya fullbacks?
Fullback is very direct lah. For me, kalau you tanya Luke Shaw, I give 8 or 9 lah, because I think he is the best performer for United this season. Even though Cavani make a difference, but for me, Shaw is the top player for this season. Wan-Bissaka, I could say 7 because of his defensive ability. Kita tak boleh nak argue, memang power. Cuma the attacking side dia kena improve more lah. For Alex Telles, I think you can say around 6 lah. I cannot give more than 6 because of his only contribution is just crossing je. In terms of defending, dia kurang sangat. So for me, those 3 tu memang okay lah, tu je lah.
I rasa maybe Telles kalau dia dapat lebih banyak game, I think his rating will be higher lah, because towards the end, a few games he's actually perform lagi better than early on in the season kan.
Yeah, betul. Tapi cuma because of kita tak ada this strong build macam Zlatan or Lukaku yang boleh like really control the ball to be the main target dekat depan goal kan. So Telles tak ada fungsi lah. Shaw memang for me suitable lah. Telles not really suitable for EPL punya game lah. For certain game lah, but not all game. So for me Shaw lah.
So we all can agree lah on the ratings. Our most potent fullbacks, I think, will be probably Shaw lah. Probably the player of the season for United also. Okay, so we move on to the interesting one. Okay, our centre back. Okay, let's start with our gem. Okay, we only discovered our gem in the final few games when he was not around. Harry Maguire. Okay, Danny. Harry Maguire.
I think he's underappreciated at United. So we look at his season. He started off in a Greek jail, had problems. He didn't have a proper pre-season. He came in. Maybe he should have been rested for the start of the season, but he came in at once. He played every minute up until he got injured. He started off a bit shaky, but eventually his stats are much better. He got better tackles. I think he scored 1 extra goal, headers. So stats from previous season is much better. It's just that maybe he's surrounded. I think like De Gea, he was also let down by the people he was surrounded in. He had Linderlof next to him, Fred in front of him. And whenever these guys make a mistake, or even when Shaw has improved, but even when Shaw makes a mistake, it is not put out in the media or kena kacam by the fans. It always drops on Maguire, and he takes it on the chin and he just keeps going on. And I feel at the moment he's the best that we have. Probably shouldn't have been given the captaincy so early, but now that he has it, I don't think anybody else at this current moment can take the the heaviness, the responsibility of the armband. So I would give him a 7.5 because of his bad start to the season.
Okay, so for the rating system, basically 1 to 10, 6 will be average lah. Okay, average will be 6 lah. So anything above 6 is pretty much good, and then anything below it's above below average, not very good lah. Okay, so we move on to our superstar on the other sense of superstar, not so very bright kind of superstar, Victor Linderlof. Okay, Smurf, what do you think about the performance, and how would you rate Victor Lindelof's overall season?
I think he was a disaster to us, very honest. He's just too soft to be a centre back. Somehow, I'm not sure why Ole keeps having so much faith in Linderlof when he has proven over and over again that he gets pushed around, he gets passed around too easily, he commits into tackles, and of course, his recovery is very slow. And worst of all, this guy can't bloody hit the ball. He can't bloody hit the ball, and he's basically playing as a central defender. This is, I think, this guy really has to go. Overall, his rating for me is probably about 3.5.
At least you gave him.
Yeah, I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to be honest. I think he
Why
out
the
of 29
0.5?
games. Yeah, I can go to 3, but not to 4. I mean, Chinese say 4 say lah. So don't be so mean. But I think 3.5 or 3, I'm okay with that because out of 29 games, he have contributed to 1 goal. He has scored 1 goal for the club. Overall, since 2017, this guy has scored for us 3 goals since joining our club. Yes, it's not the duty of a centre defender to score the goals, but in United, we need every player to basically score goals for us. It's not only from the strikers, not only from the midfields, but Widish and Rio Ferdinand did it before. Gary Neville scored before. You talk about Patrice Evra, he scored before. So for me, 3 goals in 4 seasons or 3 seasons, I think he has to go. He has to go. He's just too soft. He's not a Manchester United sort of player for me.
Smurf, just a quick one. You know that goal that Victor Lindelof scored, who assists him?
I don't really recall.
It's Anthony Martial. Okay, the answer is Anthony Martial. Okay, okay.
But don't worry about it.
So okay,
that's why I don't recall.
Okay, we move on to Bailey. Okay, so Bailey, for me, okay, early on in the season, we were all crying out for Bailey to actually play because he got the pace and he got the speed. See? But the problem with Bailey is he always make rash decisions, okay, and then at times he will give away free kicks and then sometimes penalties, okay, and then of course our team, we are very well known for we cannot really stop set pieces and whatnot. So it always every time when he plays, especially towards the end of the season, I kind of like get scared lah. So probably for him, right, I'll give him a rating of I would say 5 lah. I would say below average his rating. And then of course he wasn't really fit for most of the season also as well. I mean it's a recurring kind of thing lah. Okay, so probably I think everybody agree with Eric Bailey's ratings. Okay, so we move on to Tuanzebe. Okay, maybe Josh, you want to add on Tuanzebe?
Tuanzebe, he's a young player. I think he needs more chance on that part. Knowing him, that I think he can do pretty well with Maguire. All right, so he needs a lot of directions. The only thing that he needs is basically confidence. He's a good game reader. He has speed. He has the physique. He can even score goals. And I remember that 1 goal was disallowed. So Tuanzebe has this ability to be one of the most highest prospect defender for Manchester United. I just hope that the confidence comes in for him. Get a good preseason. And then he can start being, who knows, the next Maguire partner in Manchester United if we don't get a signing. So hopefully that happens.
I mean, Josh, put it this way, if Tuanzebe was not a Manchester United player, I think I've asked you guys before, would you actually be crying out to actually sign him?
Yes, definitely.
Would you?
Definitely.
He has the physique, he's tough, he's proven himself in the sense that, he did 1 mistake against Everton that's probably brought down his confidence.
Yes.
But before that and after that, this guy, when he is put in by Ole, he has performed and he has been a pillar for us somehow. Okay, in regards to that mistake that he did for against Everton, he was also not playing as a centre back. So for me, I'm very agreeable with Josh, and I think he should have a decent rating this season.
So,
I think Smurfs, your question as to whether I sign him, I just haven't seen enough of him to want to sign him. But what I do recall, he started off the season very well against PSG, against the marauding forward line of Mbappe and Neymar and all. And I think he looked good there. He made a couple of mistakes and then we suddenly disappeared for quite some time, right? So maybe you just need to see more of him, and then we can actually decide whether he should be kept or he should be the regular partner for Maguire.
Okay,
If we don't get a new signing, of course.
So the rating,
and I will actually rate him an average of 6 to say that. Only thing that he needs more game time and need more experience out of this. So a rating of 6 for him.
Okay, we move on to the interesting thing. Let's discuss a bit about what is the best centre-back pairing for United at the moment. Danny?
I would go with Maguire Tuanzebe. Why I say it? Because I think Tuanzebe, Bailey, and maybe even Linderlof seems like the same character. So to complement, I think you need Maguire there. He brings a bit more stability, and the speed comes from his partner. Definitely, the speed is coming from his partner, not from Maguire. So this may allow Maguire to read the game a bit better. So in my opinion, if Tuanzebe can stay fit, I think he should be the one to partner. I would have said Bailey earlier on, but he's a bit too. He's like a time bomb lah.
Danny, I don't know, but can I maybe just question you there? Maybe Bailey and Maguire, did it look good together in the few games that they played towards the end of the season, where they looked to complement each other? Maguire, the more established centre back, bringing out the ball out of defense, and Bailey was covering him with his speed. For me, it looked like it could work. What do you think?
No, it can work. Like I said, the three guys are the same characters. Okay, we leave Linderlof out. Like both of them are, I feel, are the same characters. So, but with a little bit more brain, I will give the edge to Tuanzebe. Bailey seems a bit rash lah. He's always in a rush. Doesn't think before he do. Shoot first, think later. So that's why I think Tuanzebe will be a better, but definitely not Linderlof lah. That's for sure.
Yeah, because my thought is Tuanzebe and Maguire are quite similar. Both like time on the ball, both like to bring the ball out of defense. So they look a little bit similar for me. And if you go back to most of our centre-back pairings, they were always, one was the guy who handled the ball, one is the guy who was more tough and fast. And for me, Bailly looks like the one who would complement Maguire best if he's fit and if he gets a consistent run of games, of course.
But then, sorry to interrupt. But then the way I see it, I think Tuanzebe best position is on the left centre back, right? Not the right.
Yes.
I think I see most of his position playing on the left, which is the same position of Maguire. So for me, lah, I said, if you want to complement with the Maguire, then you should go for Bailey lah, who is more comfortable on the right, because we haven't seen enough Tuanzebe on the right side of the centre back. So I don't know, maybe next season ataupun Ole will try him on the next season. But then for me, if I need, I go for Bailey lah for this season. For next season, mungkin Tuanzebe lah.
So we got different opinion on this pairing, but one thing I have to check with Jai. Linderlof in ke Linderlof out lah?
Linderlof still out lah.
Oh, you out lah. Confirm ah. SMS tak sampai hari ni
okay.
SMS tak ada.
Wait. Okay.
Actually, for me, the best pairing for next season would be Maguire and a new buy lah.
Jai,
A new good
Guys,
buy.
boleh I tambah. Okay, once memang Linderlof, Bailey dengan Maguire adalah satu pair macam Bailey, dia sudah experience, dia dah berpengalaman. So better Maguire pair dengan Bailey is better lah. Sebab Tuanzebe ni dia masih muda and then dia baru lepas injured. And so dia pun tak ada minutes game. And satu soalan saya nak tanya pada semua all the JomUnited lah. Kenapa Bailey sign kontrak baru? Kenapa?
Dia tak ada hospital, dia tak ada insurans. Hospital kat Manchester.
I takut, Jai,
So-
I takut serious
So
talk lah.
by the serious talk, so that mean kemungkinan if kita tak dapat new signing,
Yes.
mungkin dia akan pairing dengan Maguire.
Yang takut,
Itu apa?
I takut dia bagi kontrak macam tu, mereka terus tak signing centre back baru. You know, it doesn't
Memang
make
betul.
sense. Kecuali
Yes,
mereka
memang.
jual lah, mereka jual yang Linderlof, Phil Jones lah untuk clear kita punya roster lah. Kalau tak, memang
Yes.
yang kita nampak dia tak akan sign centre back baru lah. Okay guys.
But lagi satu, last. But lagi satu yang I dengar rumours tadi, Paul Torres mungkin ada green light lah untuk Man United.
I tahu you nak you nak ampuh si Smurf ni saja, I tahu. Number one fan tu, I tahu. Ampuh saja.
No, but he has a point. He has a point in regards to the possible non-signing of a new defender lah. I mean, he has a point there because by re-signing, by extending Bailey's contract, probably they're going to spend whatever money they have on a striker and a CDM. Probably that's the case lah. So yeah, Jai has a point there.
Okay, so we are at the end of segment part number 1. Okay, for the goalkeeper and the defense. Okay, so stay tuned for part number 2 when we'll be talking about the midfield. Okay, so like usual, like, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications so you'll be notified when part 2 comes up. Okay, JomUnited.
JomUnited.